Welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we're doing urban legends from Maine. Enjoy. The first urban legend is the Separatist well descent. According to this story, a group of teens dared a friend to be lowered into a well in Separatist. The well, located at the back of a cemetery, was reported to be haunted, but the young boy agreed to the challenge in order to impress the group. Sitting atop a rubber tire, the boy was lowered down into the well for many minutes before his friends could no longer see him. When they realized that there was no movement at the end of the rope, the boys pulled up their friend and found him very changed. The boy's hair had turned stark white, his entire body shook, and he was unable to form coherent sentences. His laughter indicated that he had gone insane, and his appearance was that of a very old man. The boy never came back from this state and is said to randomly scream from the windows of the county mental institution where he now lives. The next urban legend is the monster of Poco Moonshine Lake. This lake in Washington County has held stories of lake monsters for as long as any Mainer in the area can remember. Some have even reported seeing the snake-like beings along with the trails they leave behind when they come to and leave the lake. While there are no photos of the creatures, locals estimate them to be anywhere from 30 to 60 feet long and could date back as far as 1873. The next urban legend is the Wood Island Lighthouse haunting. The lighthouse on Wood Island has a few scary theories related to its haunting. In one, the lighthouse is haunted by the ghost of fisherman Howard Hobbs, who shot and killed his landlord, Fred Milliken, in 1896. The story goes that Hobbs and his roommate, William Moses, had been drinking heavily when Milliken asked to speak to them about their overdue rent. Hobbs went on to shoot Milliken in the chest before he turned the gun on himself inside the Wood Island Lighthouse. Following the suicide, reports of moaning and unexplained shadows began to be told by keepers living in the lighthouse. In 1972, the light was removed, negating the need for any keepers to live within the haunted light. If you take a visit now, you'll see that an automated light now exists, and perhaps you'll hear Hobbs moaning on his own, without even a keeper to keep him company. The next urban legend is the Sequin Island Lighthouse hauntings. In the mid-1800s, the lighthouse was inhabited by a caretaker and his wife. To combat the lonely isolation of the island, the caretaker had a piano shipped to keep his wife occupied. He probably should have found out her level of expertise before providing this gift, though unfortunately she only knew one song and played it incessantly. Eventually, the caretaker could take no more, went a bit insane, and destroyed the piano with an axe. Next, he killed his wife and finally himself. Today, local folks have claimed to have heard the lone song coming from the lighthouse. The next urban legend is the ghost bride of Hawesville Woods. On a wooded road on the outskirts of Hawesville, a newlywed couple traveled on a dark winter night. The story tells us that the groom was drunk and lost control of the car, hitting a telephone pole, which killed him. After the young bride called from the wreckage and made her way back to the snowy road, she waited for hours for someone to drive by to help her. However, the conditions of the night meant that nobody was traveling, and the woman never received help. It is reported that she has remained in the same place in her wedding gown, where she eventually froze to death. Travelers on the road have reported seeing the woman in the white gown outside of the Hawesville Woods. She can still be seen wandering along the side of the road, searching for help that never came. Some even claim to have actually spoken to the woman. In these situations, she tells the driver of her situation, but as the vehicle approaches closer, the woman suddenly disappears. The next urban legend is at the Fort William Henry haunting. This fort at Permaquaid Beach in Bristol is said to be haunted by the spirit of Native American chief Toogalexis. He was killed by hanging near the fort in 1696 and is said to live in the same tree where he was hanged. You may be able to see him in the form of a white orb near the entrance at the front of the fort. This next urban legend is called the Robbie Andrews Dormitory Hauntings. It is said that Robbie Andrews Dormitory on the Gorham campus of the University of Southern Maine is haunted. Built in the 1800s, the Robbie Andrews Dorm is the oldest building on the Gorham campus. Within that time, there have been numerous stories of suicide and murder, many of which include spirits that have stuck around for future generations of students. In one story, a girl hung herself in the tower after learning she was pregnant. In another, a young woman falls to her death in front of a bunch of people. Was she pushed? Did she jump herself? It is unclear. One thing is for sure, she hasn't quite found peace, as she can still be seen and heard in and around the dorm building. Dorm residents have reported hearing noises and feeling cold areas. Some people have reported seeing a woman in the tower. Sounds fairly normal until you learn that that tower has been closed off and inaccessible for many, many years. The last urban legend is the legend of Colonel Buck's tomb. The founder of Bucksport, Colonel Jonathan Buck, fell in love with a woman and she became pregnant with his son. Upon learning this, he forced her to leave and she spent the next few years raising her son alone. Eventually, the woman came back to Colonel Buck requesting assistance in caring for his son, which he refused. To ensure she would not bother him again, he pronounced her a witch and had her burned. During the fire, her leg was fetched by her son, who ran away to bury it on his own as a memorial to his mother. After Colonel Buck's death, his own tomb showed signs of a stain in the form of a leg. Despite attempts to remove it, including changing the stone for a new one, the leg image remained. It is still here today. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like. If you're not yet subscribed, please subscribe and turn the bell notification on so you know when I post. And let me know which story was the creepiest, scariest, or if you'll ever visit these places. Let me know down below. Bye-bye for now.